Something major just happened in Washington, and if you receive Social Security, SSI, SSDI, or you have been waiting on any kind of stimulus relief, you are going to want to stay right here until the very end of this video, because what we are covering today could directly affect your monthly payments, your eligibility, and the money that may be coming your way very soon. This is not something you want to miss, and I promise you, by the time we finish today, you are going to have a clear picture of exactly what changed, what it means for you personally, and what steps you need to take right now to make sure you do not leave any money on the table. Welcome back to Senior Benefit Scope USA, the channel dedicated to keeping you informed every single day about the benefits and programs that matter most to you. If you're new here, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications, because we post updates like this one daily, and you never want to be the last one to find out about changes that could impact your income and your financial security. Now let us get right into it, because there is a lot to cover today, and every single detail is important. Congress has been under enormous pressure over the last several months from seniors, from advocacy groups, and from millions of Americans who depend on federal benefit programs to survive. The cost of groceries, housing, prescription medications, and everyday living expenses has continued to climb, and for people living on fixed incomes, that pressure has become almost unbearable. Well, lawmakers have responded, and the legislation that has just moved forward represents one of the most significant shifts in federal benefit policy that we have seen in quite some time. Let us start with Social Security, because this affects the largest group of our viewers. The new law includes provisions that directly address the way Social Security benefits are calculated and adjusted. For years, seniors and disability advocates have argued that the cost of living adjustments, commonly known as the COLA, do not accurately reflect the real expenses that older Americans face. The standard COLA has traditionally been tied to a consumer price index that tracks spending habits of working age adults and urban wage earners, but seniors spend their money very differently. They spend a much larger portion of their income on healthcare, on prescription drugs, and on housing, all of which tend to increase faster than general inflation. The new legislation pushes for a shift in how that calculation is done, moving toward an index that more accurately reflects senior spending patterns. What this means in practical terms is that future cost of living adjustments could be higher than what you would have received under the old formula. Even a difference of half a percentage point or 1 full percentage point each year adds up significantly over time. If your current monthly Social Security benefit is around $1,500, a 1% higher COLA means an extra $15 per month, which is $180 per year, and that compounds over time. Over 5 years, that difference adds up to hundreds of dollars more in your pocket, money that you have earned and that you deserve. Now, for those of you receiving SSI, which stands for Supplemental Security Income, there is very important news as well. SSI is designed to help elderly, blind, and disabled individuals who have very limited income and resources, and for too long, the asset limits for SSI have been stuck at levels that were set back in 1989. That is not a typo. The asset limits have not been meaningfully updated in over 3 decades. The current limit allows a single individual to have no more than $2,000 in countable resources and a couple to have no more than $3,000. Those numbers are shockingly low, and they have prevented many people from saving even a small emergency fund without risking their eligibility. The new law addresses this directly by increasing those asset limits substantially. The proposed increases would allow individuals to hold significantly more in savings without jeopardizing their SSI benefits. This is a life-changing development for millions of low-income seniors and disabled Americans who have been forced to spend down their savings just to qualify for or maintain their benefits. Now, you will be able to keep a bit more of what you have worked for without fear of losing the support you depend on. The exact new thresholds are being finalized, but advocates are reporting that the increases are meaningful and long overdue. There's also movement on the income exclusion rules under SSI. Under the current system, only the first $65 of earned income per month is excluded from the calculation that determines your benefit amount, and that number has not been updated in decades either. The new law includes provisions to raise that exclusion, which means that if you or a family member do some part-time work, more of that income will be protected before it starts reducing your SSI benefit. This gives recipients more flexibility and a small but meaningful incentive to earn a little extra income without being penalized as severely as before. For those of you receiving SSDI, which is Social Security Disability Insurance, there are also significant updates worth understanding. SSDI is the program for individuals who have worked and paid into Social Security, but who became disabled and can no longer engage in what the Social Security Administration calls substantial gainful activity. One of the biggest challenges for SSDI recipients over the years has been the fear of losing benefits if they attempt to return to work, even part-time or in a limited capacity. The new provisions expand the trial work period protections and increase the substantial gainful activity threshold, which is the monthly earnings limit that determines whether someone is considered to be working at a level that would disqualify them from SSDI. This matters because disability is not always a permanent all-or-nothing situation. Some people with disabilities have good months and bad months. Some people want to try working a few hours a week to see if they can manage it, but the fear of losing their Medicare coverage or their SSDI check if they earn even a small amount has kept many of them from trying. The new changes create a safer environment to explore work without the immediate risk of losing everything. This is a compassionate and sensible reform that recognizes the reality of living with a disability. Now, let us talk about stimulus checks, because this is the part of the conversation that has a lot of people buzzing right now. The term stimulus check has been used broadly, and it is important to be clear about what is actually on the table so that you are not misled by rumors or misinformation. What is being discussed and what has gained legislative traction is a targeted relief payment aimed specifically at Social Security, SSI, and SSDI recipients. This is not a broad economy-wide stimulus like what was distributed during the pandemic years, but rather a focused payment designed to help fixed-income seniors and disabled Americans cope with the increased costs they have been facing. The relief payment being discussed is structured as a one-time payment for eligible beneficiaries. Individuals who receive Social Security retirement benefits, survivors benefits, SSI, or SSDI would qualify, and the payment amounts being discussed are substantial enough to make a real difference. Figures in the range of $250 to $600 per eligible person have been circulating in the discussions, with the final amount depending on the specific program you are enrolled in and your household situation. Couples where both individuals receive benefits could see a higher combined amount. The distribution of this payment, if finalized at the amounts being discussed, is expected to go through the same channels as your regular monthly benefits. That means if you receive your Social Security or SSI payment by direct deposit, the relief payment would go to the same bank account automatically. If you receive a paper check, a separate check would be mailed to your address on file with the Social Security Administration. This is important because you should not need to do anything special to receive this payment if you are already enrolled in a qualifying program, and you should be very cautious about anyone who contacts you asking for your banking information, your Social Security number, or any fees in exchange for getting you this payment. That is a scam, plain and simple, and unfortunately scammers move very quickly whenever news like this breaks. Let us talk about what you need to do right now to make sure you are in the best possible position to receive everything you are entitled to. First, make sure that your address and direct deposit information is up to date with the Social Security Administration. You can do this by logging into your My Social Security account online at ssa.gov, by calling the Social Security Administration directly at their toll-free number, or by visiting your local Social Security office in person. If your payment information is outdated, you could experience delays in receiving any new payments, and that is the last thing you want. Second, if you have not yet applied for SSI and you think you might qualify based on your income and resources, now is an excellent time to look into it. With the asset limits changing and the rules becoming somewhat more flexible, some people who may have previously been over the resource limit might now find themselves eligible. It is worth a conversation with the Social Security Administration or with a benefits counselor in your area to find out where you stand. Third, if you are on SSDI and you have been curious about whether you could do any kind of work activity, consider reaching out to a benefits planner or a work incentive specialist. These are people who are specifically trained to help SSDI recipients understand the work incentive programs available to them, and with the new protections being expanded, this may be a good time to explore your options without fear. Fourth, stay informed and stay skeptical. With news like this spreading quickly, misinformation also spreads quickly. Stick to official sources like SSA.gov, Medicare.gov, and channels like ours that are dedicated to accurate, up-to-date information. Do not rely on social media posts or text messages or phone calls that claim to have special information about your payments. The Social Security Administration will never call you and ask for your personal information over the phone. If you get a call like that, hang up. It is also worth mentioning that the Medicare side of this legislation includes some meaningful updates as well. There has been significant pressure on Congress to further reduce the cost of prescription drugs for Medicare beneficiaries following the changes that began under recent legislation. The new law reinforces and potentially expands the drug price negotiation provisions that allow Medicare to negotiate directly with pharmaceutical companies on behalf of beneficiaries. This means that over the coming months and years, some of the most commonly used and most expensive medications for seniors could become significantly more affordable. If you are currently spending a large portion of your income on prescription drugs, this is something to watch closely because the savings could be substantial. For those of you who are approaching Medicare eligibility age, which is 65, or who are already enrolled in Medicare, the new law also includes provisions to strengthen the Low-Income Subsidy Program, sometimes called the Extra Help Program, which helps eligible beneficiaries pay for their Medicare Part D prescription drug costs. If you are not sure whether you qualify for extra help, please look into it because many people who are eligible never apply simply because they do not know it exists. The income and resource limits for extra help are higher than many people expect, and the savings can be hundreds or even thousands of dollars per year on prescription drug costs alone. There's one more thing I want to address before we wrap up today, and that is the broader significance of what we are seeing happen right now. For decades, advocates for seniors and people with disabilities have been pushing for these kinds of reforms. The asset limit increases for SSI, the COLA calculation changes, the expanded work protections for SSDI recipients, and the targeted relief payments represent years of advocacy and pressure finally making their way into law. That does not mean the fight is over. There will be implementation challenges, there will be budget negotiations, and there will be ongoing debates about whether these changes go far enough. But it does mean that the voices of seniors and disabled Americans are being heard, and that matters. If If you have a family member or a friend who receives any of these benefits, please share this video with them. Share it on Facebook, send them the link, or just sit down and watch it together. The more people who are informed about these changes, the better prepared everyone will be to take advantage of them and to protect themselves from any confusion or misinformation that might come along with the rollout. As always, we will be here every single day bringing you the latest updates as things develop. The situation around these legislative changes is still evolving, and there will be more specific details to report as the implementation process moves forward. We will cover all of it right here, including specific payment dates, exact dollar amounts as they are confirmed, and step-by-step guidance on anything you need to do. So if you found this video helpful today, and I truly hope that you did, please give it a thumbs up because it helps more people like you find this information when they need it most. Hit that subscribe button if you have not already, and make sure your notifications are turned on so that you never miss a daily update from Senior Benefit Scope USA. You have worked hard your entire life, you have paid into these programs, and you deserve to know every single benefit and every single dollar that is available to you. We are going to keep fighting to make sure you do. Thank you so much for being here today, and we will see you in the next video.